The room goes silent the second her body strikes the marble floor. No scream. No drama. Just the ugly sound of flesh meeting stone. Coffee spreads across the boardroom table. Papers scatter like excuses. For half a second, the bruises on Amara Reed's wrist slip free from the torn sleeve she fought all morning to keep in place. She had practiced this presentation through pain that clawed at her ribs every time she breathed. 10 more minutes, she told herself. Just 10. But when an executive's voice cuts through the room, sharp, mocking, impatient, her vision fractures. Someone laughs. Someone sighs. Then the doors open. A Korean man steps inside. His suit is flawless. His expression unreadable. He doesn't rush to help. He doesn't ask questions. He simply looks. At the bruises, the swelling, the way she curls inward like someone trained to survive by shrinking. Something in his eyes hardens. The chairman starts talking, explaining, smoothing, controlling the story. The man interrupts with one calm, lethal sentence. Wu did this to her. No one answers. When he kneels beside the woman, the room already erased, power doesn't shift loudly. It shifts permanently. Amara doesn't know his name. She doesn't know why he's here. She only knows that when he says, "You're not standing up again," it sounds less like concern and more like war. Subscribe to Love and Loyalties before the truth changes everything. Amara wakes to silence that feels expensive. Not the beeping chaos of a public hospital. Not the rushed footsteps of nurses with too many patients. This quiet is controlled. Padded. Intentional. White walls. Soft lighting. Linen sheets that don't smell like disinfectant. Her body registers relief before her mind catches up. The pain in her ribs has dulled to a distant ache. Her breathing, shallow but steady. Someone has taken care of her very well. Too well. She tries to sit up. A sharp reminder blooms beneath her ribs and she stops, biting down hard enough to taste blood. A woman in pale blue scrubs appears instantly, like she had been waiting just outside the frame of her vision. "Please don't move," the nurse says gently. Not warmly. Gently, like a professional instruction. "You fractured 2 ribs and aggravated internal bruising. You're stable now." Amara swallows. "Where am I?" The nurse hesitates for half a second. "A private medical suite." That's not an answer. It's the one I'm allowed to give. That word lands harder than the pain. Allowed. Amara notices then what's missing. Her phone. Her bag. Her shoes. Even the cheap cardigan she'd been wearing when she collapsed is gone. She reaches instinctively for the bedside table. Empty. "Can I call someone?" she asks. The nurse offers a polite smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "Privacy protocols are in place. Mr. Park requested limited access." There it is. A name without explanation. A man she doesn't know making decisions about her body. Before Amara can respond, the nurse adds, almost kindly, "You're safe here." Safe. The word tastes strange. Safety has never arrived without conditions. Through the open door, she catches glimpses of movement. 2 men in dark suits standing like furniture. Security. Not hospital guards. Their posture is too alert, their eyes too sharp. This isn't medical care. It's containment dressed up as concern. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. Time feels unreliable when you wake up in a place you didn't choose. Then her phone appears on the bedside table, as if summoned. Not hers. A sleek device she doesn't recognize. It vibrates once. The caller ID reads Human Resources. Amara almost laughs. "Almost," she answers. "Amara." Patricia's voice says, suddenly soft, suddenly careful. "We're deeply concerned about what happened." Concerned. After 3 reports. After emails left unread. After being told to avoid misinterpretations. Patricia continues, tripping over her own politeness. "We've launched an internal review. Senior leadership is taking this very seriously. We'd like to offer our sincerest apologies for any discomfort you may have experienced." Discomfort. Amara stares at the ceiling while the woman keeps talking. Promises. Reassurances. Words that sound rehearsed and empty. The same mouth that once told her to keep things professional now trembles with urgency. "What changed?" Amara asks quietly. Silence. Then a careful answer. Certain, external factors have brought clarity. Amara ends the call without saying goodbye. She doesn't need to ask what those factors are. She already knows. The door opens without a knock. He walks in alone. Min-jun Park doesn't look like a savior. He doesn't look like a villain either. He looks like someone accustomed to rooms rearranging themselves around his presence. His suit is dark, immaculate. His expression unreadable. He doesn't apologize. Doesn't ask how she's feeling. He pulls a chair close to the bed and sits, folding his hands loosely. Waiting. For what? She asks. The truth, he says. His voice is calm, measured, not cruel, not kind. Start wherever it hurts most. Her throat tightens. She hates how easily the words want to come now that someone is finally listening. She hates that it took him. She tells him everything. The comments disguised as jokes. The hands that lingered too long. The warning looks from coworkers who didn't want trouble. The meeting where she was cornered. The shove against the desk. The threat whispered low enough to deny. Min-jun doesn't interrupt. Doesn't react. He listens like a judge, not a comforter. When she finishes, the silence stretches. I've already suspended the board, he says finally. The executive responsible has been isolated. His accounts are frozen. Access revoked. Her breath catches. Not relief. You can do that. I already did. She looks at him then, really looks. Why? He meets her gaze steadily. Because systems only respond to consequences. And what do you want in return? She asks. Because there is always a price. He doesn't pretend otherwise. I'll protect you, Min-jun says. From retaliation. From professional damage. From being erased quietly. And I need everything, he replies. Names, dates, details, no omissions. I don't protect stories, Amara, I protect facts. The room feels smaller, safer, more dangerous. She understands the choice instantly. Accepting means stepping into his world. Efficient, ruthless, irreversible. Refusing means returning to a system that already proved it would let her break. Min-jun stands, smoothing his jacket. You don't have to decide now. One night. At the door, he pauses. But understand this. Once I extend protection, I don't withdraw it. He leaves. Amara lies back against the pillows, staring at the ceiling of a room meant to heal her. Realizing safety has never weighed this much. And tomorrow she has to choose who she's willing to become to survive. Amara realizes she has accepted Min-jun Park's protection the moment the driver opens the door without asking where she wants to go. The car is black, silent, and sealed off from the city like a moving vault. No radio, no conversation. Just the hum of power beneath the leather seats and the weight of choices she can't undo. Security follows at a distance, always close enough to matter, always far enough to pretend she still has space. Min-jun sits across from her, not beside her. That detail matters. He doesn't invade. He doesn't crowd. He gives her room the way someone confident in control always does. You're free to leave at any time, he says, eyes forward. You'll be driven wherever you choose. And after that? She asks. He glances at her just once. After that, you'll be alone again. The city blurs past the tinted windows. She doesn't argue. His world is quiet in a way hers has never been. Not the absence of noise, but the absence of chaos. Every movement feels intentional. Every door opens before she reaches it. Every person they pass acknowledges him without words. Power without announcement. She stays in a guest suite inside one of his properties. Not a cage, not a palace. Clean lines. Neutral colors. Nothing that demands gratitude. Nothing that suggests ownership. Her phone is returned. Unmonitored, he insists. Trust collapses faster than surveillance. He tells her. That sentence unsettles her more than cameras ever could. Days pass. Meetings happen around her, not with her. She hears fragments through glass walls. Finance, logistics, restructuring. She is not included, but she is not ignored. Min-jun checks on her once a day. Always brief. Always respectful. How are you feeling? Stronger. Good. No touching. No pressure. No sympathy. And somehow, that restraint feels intimate. She notices the cracks slowly. The way his jaw tightens when certain executives' names are mentioned. The momentary stillness when corruption reports cross his desk. The silence that follows any reference to legacy. This man is not defending an empire. He is correcting one. One evening, he invites her to dinner, public, controlled, neutral ground. She expects spectacle. Instead, she gets simplicity, a private room, minimal staff, no audience. "You don't owe me anything," she says over untouched food. "I need you to know that." "I know," he replies. "That's why this works." Her eyes narrow. "Works for who?" "For both of us," he says evenly. "You're not fragile. You're injured. There's a difference." No one has ever said that to her before. The chemistry between them doesn't spark. It simmers. Lives in what isn't said. In the way he waits for her to finish speaking. In the way she challenges him without fear. "You control everything," she says finally. "I control outcomes," he corrects. People confuse the two. "And me." He meets her gaze fully now. "You control yourself. That's why you're here by choice." That night, she can't sleep. She opens her laptop. Old habits. Old instincts. If she's in this world now, she needs to understand it. She searches his name. Public records first. Clean, polished, charitable, too perfect. Then she goes deeper. Shell companies. Restructured holdings. Sealed cases. The kind of digital fingerprints that suggest something has been buried, not erased. One file catches her eye. An internal investigation from years ago, quietly closed, no conclusion listed, names redacted, except one, hers. Amara Reed. Her pulse stutters. She opens the file, hands shaking. The timeline doesn't make sense. The investigation predates her employment by years. Different city. Different company. Same first name. No. She cross-references birth records, addresses, old data trails. It's her. The room feels suddenly smaller. Footsteps approach behind her. She closes the laptop too late. Min Jun stops in the doorway. He doesn't pretend not to see the screen. For the first time, something like surprise flickers across his face. "You weren't supposed to find that yet," he says quietly. Her voice comes out steadier than she feels. "Why is my name in your family's sealed investigation?" Silence stretches between them. Not hostile. Heavy. "That case," he says slowly, "is why I don't believe in inherited innocence." "What does that mean?" she asks. "It means," he replies, "someone connected to me once protected someone who hurt you." The room tilts. "No," she says. "I never met you before the boardroom. You met the consequences." He corrects. Images rush her mind, lost opportunities, unexplained rejections, sudden transfers she never understood. "You knew," she whispers. "Before I collapsed." "I suspected," he admits. The confirmation came later. Her chest tightens, not from pain, but from betrayal. Not his. The world's. "My suffering," she says slowly, "is part of your past." "Wes. And now?" she asks. "Now?" Min Jun says, stepping back to give her space. "It's part of my responsibility." She closes the laptop, hands trembling. The chemistry between them shifts. Not warmer, not colder. Sharper. Dangerous. Because whatever bound her to him now was no longer coincidence. It was history. And she has the sinking feeling that the war Min Jun declared didn't start in that boardroom. It started long before she ever knew his name. The truth doesn't arrive gently. It detonates. Amara sits across from Min Jun in a glass-walled conference room high above the city, the kind of room built for decisions that ruin lives without fingerprints. Files are spread across the table between them. Contracts, timelines, ownership charts. Clean documents hiding dirty history. She already knows what's coming. She can feel it in the way Min Jun hasn't sat down, in the way his jacket is still on, like he might leave the moment she breaks. "The man who assaulted you," he says carefully, "was protected." Her jaw tightens. "By who?" He slides a single page forward. A subsidiary name she recognizes instantly, not because she's seen it recently, but because she's seen it everywhere. Payroll slips. Vendor lists. corporate signatures buried in fine print, her company, linked, once removed, then twice, then buried. That subsidiary, Min Jun continues, was once under my family's umbrella. The words feel surgical, precise, and devastating. So, when I reported him, Amara says slowly, when HR ignored me, they were protecting themselves. He finishes. And by extension, protecting us. The room spins, not from pain, from rage. Flashbacks crash into her without warning. A transfer denied without explanation. A promotion quietly given to someone else. A warning from a colleague to be careful who you accuse. Moments she thought were coincidences suddenly line up into a pattern too clean to deny. You knew this was possible, she says, not accusing, stating, Wes. And you still let me walk into that boardroom alone. Min Jun doesn't flinch. I didn't know it was still active. But it was. She snaps. Because no one ever dismantled it. Silence stretches tight and sharp. He finally sits, like the weight of it has reached his bones. When I was younger, he says, voice lower now, my father trusted men who looked respectable. Executives, partners, men who signed papers cleanly and dirtied their hands quietly. Amara doesn't respond. One of them hurt someone. He continues, a woman who worked for us. Not visibly, not publicly. The damage showed up later, in her career, her health, her silence. Her chest tightens. She already knows where this is going. My father chose reputation, Min Jun says. Buried the case. I learned that power doesn't rot from the outside. It rots from what it protects. The room feels colder. So you hate corruption, Amara says bitterly. But you inherited it anyway. Yes. The honesty in that word is brutal. You're telling me this, she says, standing now, like it makes it better. It doesn't. He agrees. It makes it true. She laughs then. A sharp, broken sound that surprises even her. All this time, I thought my pain was random. That I just didn't work hard enough. Didn't stay quiet enough. She looks at him, eyes burning. Turns out I was paying for your family's sins. Min Jun rises too. You're not collateral damage. Then stop treating me like fallout. She snaps. He takes a step toward her, then stops himself. The restraint that once felt respectful now feels like distance. I'm dismantling everything connected to that subsidiary, he says. Publicly. Permanently. That's not justice, she replies. That's cleanup. Her voice shakes now, despite her effort. Justice would have been stopping it before it reached me. I can't change the past. No, she says. But you can stop pretending your protection fixes it. The silence between them breaks open. I didn't ask for this, she says. I didn't ask to be part of your reckoning. I didn't ask for your war. I know, and yet here I am, she continues, tears finally spilling, hurting because powerful men made choices without asking me. Min Jun looks like he wants to reach for her. He doesn't. I won't be owned by your guilt, she says. Or your redemption. She grabs her coat, hands trembling but steady enough. Every step toward the door feels like ripping something loose inside her chest. If I stay, she says without turning back, I become another woman whose pain fuels a man's transformation. The words land hard. She pauses at the door. I deserve a life that isn't built on someone else's crimes. Then she leaves. Min Jun doesn't follow. That's what hurts most. The car ride away from his world feels longer than the ride into it. The city outside the window looks harsher now. Louder. Less controlled, but it's hers again. Days pass. No calls, no messages, no protection. The silence is complete. Her company announces resignations, investigations, statements crafted by lawyers. His name is mentioned only in passing, never fully acknowledged. And Min Jun Park disappears from her life as completely as he entered it. At night, Amara lies awake, ribs aching, heart heavier than ever, wondering if walking away was strength, or loss disguised as dignity. Because sovereignty feels lonely, and the war he started now echoes somewhere she can't reach. Separated, unprotected, unfinished. And for the first time since the boardroom floor, no one is there to catch her. Morning arrives without urgency. Sunlight spills across the kitchen floor in soft, ordinary rectangles. No alarms, no security briefings. Just the low hum of a city waking up at its own pace. Amara stands by the window, barefoot, coffee cooling in her hands, reading through a draft she has rewritten 3 times already. Not because she has to, but because she cares. The framework is hers. New oversight language. Mandatory external reporting. Corporate law enforcement partnerships that no longer bury harm under NDAs and influence. Transparency with teeth. Systems redesigned so power answers to people, not the other way around. This time, change isn't reactionary, it's intentional. Min Jun moves behind her, quiet as ever, setting a plate on the table. He doesn't read over her shoulder. He doesn't interrupt. He learned, long ago, that standing beside her means trusting her vision, not steering it. When the document goes public weeks later, it sends tremors through boardrooms and agencies alike. Companies resist. Some threaten. Many comply. Because this time, the rules are enforced without favoritism. And Amara is the one they call. She never raises her voice in meetings. She doesn't need to. Authority lives in her calm now. In the fact that she cannot be leveraged, rushed, or silenced. Min Jun is there, visible, supportive, but never looming. The world still knows his name. What surprises them is how rarely he uses it. From the hallway, a small voice cuts through the quiet. Mom. Amara turns, instinctively smiling as a child runs toward her, laughter echoing off the walls. She kneels without thinking, arms open, grounding herself in the weight and warmth of something real. Min Jun watches from a distance, something like awe softening his sharp edges. This is the power he never had before. Not control, not fear, peace, earned, not gifted, built slowly, repaired daily, protected by choice rather than force. That evening, as the city lights flicker on below their balcony, Amara rests her head against his shoulder. No vows are spoken. None are needed. They have already chosen each other, again and again, without chains. The world is still imperfect. Systems still fail. But here, in this life they shaped together, power has finally learned how to bow. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Love and Loyalties and comment which couple you want next.